Hey everybody, I'm Caroline, team captain of the Grow Your Studio Profitably program here at Studio Grow, also a studio owner myself, and I'm joined today by Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel, a coaching consultant for Studio Grow. I came from fitness franchising. I've also owned my own business for the last 20 years, and we are covering a topic that is really important to me, actually.
Yes.
As both a business owner and a coach, and it's just this concept that sometimes owners think they have to choose between like success and soul, and our argument is that you don't have to choose. Like, you can have both. In fact, some of my highest performing studios have a very purpose-driven connection to their business.
Yeah, and I think we're in a unique industry where, there are some people who start a business because they want to start a business. It's about the money and the profit and the structure and the organization, but more often than not, that's not who we see opening a cycle studio or a group fitness studio or a yoga studio. You fell in love with this practice. It probably changed your life in a really dramatic way that led you to wanting to instruct or teach. And then you were like, what if I had my own version of this? And you build this brand, and somewhere along the way, like, either the spiritual side takes precedence or the business side, or you're like, I can't do both, where do I go? And that's like really where we step in to help.
Yeah.
How have you seen that unfold with some of your clients or in yourself?
Oh, sure. So I think it's a matter of value. So I always think of spiritual health is health, right? Business is health, right? So it's all integrated, including financial health is health. So trying to look at and reframe like, hey, both can exist here, and really knowing what you offer and your value is so important. Like you mentioned, essentially, if it did it for you, like, you can imagine how people are changing their lives within your facility. Is like, what other industry does that really happen in? It's so special and unique. So we usually start at Studio Grow with a pricing call, because we want to know the whole story. And sometimes a lot of clients haven't ever reviewed. Like, they either just kind of inherited the studio for someone else, or that's what their neighbor charges, so that's what they're charging. And then we start to really break it down into the nitty gritty, and we're like, oh my gosh, actually, for what you offer, you can charge, like, you're worth so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we're pricing a studio, we're really taking into account your overhead and making sure you can pay your teachers, and your price per class makes sense with the amount of classes you're offering and your business goals. There has to be like a little bit of profit in there. But this pricing call, one of the early stages in our Grow Your Studio Profitably program, is often met with a lot of resistance, because maybe it means raising your prices, and that can feel uncomfortable, scary, even if you do have really big goals that merit a price increase. I also see too many studios that have like pricing that was made 10 years ago, and now the price of everything has grown, and they're like, but I can't raise the prices. I'm like, but you pay so much more for this space. Right. So where do we go with a client like that?
So I always start with, again, we level set, right? We say, hey, here's where you could be. And then we take baby steps forward, like towards their comfort level. And also kind of dig into, like, why is there discomfort around charging more? Is it a money blocker that you have? Is it you don't think you're worth it? If you don't think people will pay that for what you offer? So it's kind of like this telling yourself a new story about the numbers too. But really looking at, like, financially where you are now, where you want to be, and money is a tool. Yeah. That's how you can reach more people, is making sure that you're bringing in enough people to retain and grow and reach even more people.
Yeah. And I think, like, you really touched on it in a lot of our coaching with clients. It's a lot of mindset work. It's a lot of breaking down. If we talk about money, we all have very unique and complex stories and experiences with money, and kind of breaking it down. Why do I feel this way in terms of charging someone this much? Or, at the end of the day, we need a studio owner to stand really confidently behind their pricing, to convey that to clients, to convey it to their team. And so a lot of that work that you might do with us is like a self-audit.
Yes.
What is this bringing up? I didn't expect this.
Yes, it's so true. I always think back, because I've been a trainer for 22 years, and coming from gym culture 20 years ago, the sales process, so actually in some locations it still looks the same, unfortunately. But looking at where it is then compared to now, like I think I shared the story with you once that part of our sales process was to overcome an obstacle, which was spouse. Like I need to check with my husband, wife, whoever. And so part of our training process was to slide the phone across the table and literally have them call their spouse in front of us. And my discomfort with that, like I'm getting sweaty right now just thinking about it. But so my perception of how to sell like that, I was like, I don't like selling. I'm not good at it. Yeah. But really, I just hadn't landed on the right language, conversation, the setting. So when I started my own business, I was like, I'm going to ask emotionally intelligent questions. I genuinely care about this person in front of me, so I'm going to tell them that, show them that, and ask questions in a way where they can start like relaxing and hearing what I have to say and be open to purchasing what I want to prescribe to them, because it truly is what I think is best for the person in front of me.
Yeah, and I think that's so eye-opening for people, because sales is often this like sleazy, pushy, aggressive, and like, yes, it can be that, but it does not need to be, especially not in this industry. And I always love to break it down, like the sales process should be about rapport building and getting to know these people that hopefully are going to spend a lot of time in your studio with you. Mm-hmm. And so just like really seeing them as a human and asking those emotionally intelligent questions to get to the why behind maybe these very layered and complex histories with movement practices, and how this is going to be different and for you and reach your goals, so that when an objection comes up, which it probably will in the sales process, I feel comfortable kind of pushing back and asking a deeper question, because again, like, you trust me, I trust you. I just want to know how this is going to work for you.
Yes. And I really think that can tie into spiritual work.
Yeah.
Really, it's how we show up for ourselves, how we show up for each other, how we treat each other, how we are kind of leading the way in this process to show them like, hey, this is a safe place. We're connected, we're building a relationship, like you're welcome here. So it really, like, I always watch for their body language to kind of like relax, and then I know I'm like, okay, now we can have a real conversation. So it really just kind of just like reframing that story for yourself, auditing, like, do I have blockers around money, or kind of a mindset that I don't think I can be abundant, right? And then, you know, putting that onto the client too, like, hey, this is a place, these are our mission core values, this is who we are, and sell them by truly just an authentic connection.
Yeah. And I always tell that when I'm training like a new staff member in my studio, I'm like, it's just two people who like yoga talking about yoga.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't realize they like it yet, and you're going to tell them all the cool things about how this practice changed your life, and that's going to open their eyes to be like, yes, I need to come back here 3 times a week, whatever it is. It's a really different way of looking at it.
Oh, sure. And I think too, the connection piece, no matter what, money exchange or not, that's where like the spiritual work happens, right? Because it, you know, depending on why you think we're all here, a big part of it for me is connecting. That's it. I just want to learn about you. We're going to go through this human experience together. And movement is a great modality to support a lot of people in their spiritual practice. So I think it can get really like deep and heavy into the conversation. But I always think when it comes to business, like I absolutely believe that your spiritual work should be involved. Like, it's not separate. It's all one piece.
Well, and I think when we talk about kind of like straddling that line between business and spiritual and just really auditing ourselves, what comes back for me is self-care and making sure at the end of the day, if you are talking about group fitness all day long, like, when's the last time you actually went and did that? Like, took your own advice for once. I think we run into this with clients all the time, and I often find myself goal setting with a client in the summer of like, yes, we want to grow your revenue, but also I think the biggest goal is you take a week off, because that is going to leave you so excited to come back into the business and crush your goals and connect with clients and sell the things.
It's so true. Those little breaks. We had a client who her studio's in Colorado, so obviously has access to mountains and hikes, and she took herself on like a weekend river trip just on her own. And I didn't know that, but when we logged on to our call, I was like, what's going on? Like, your energy seems different today. Like, tell me more. And she was like, oh, I got away this week. I felt so good. I had a million ideas come through. I wrote them in my
Yes.
journal, and I was like, okay, we're adding this to our to-do list. Like, every 6 weeks, you head out into the mountains,
Yeah.
do your work, and then, you know, re-energize for this work.
Yeah, and man, that feeling when you're like, I have nailed the business side, that I can step away for a few days, that is great. And then you're crushing it on both sides.
Yes, yeah. It's all, like I said, it's all a spiritual practice.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I hope you guys gathered something. Either you're going to dive into and reconnect to that spiritual side of your business, or you're going to dive into the more strategic businessy side of things. Both are great. Thanks for joining us.